Good morning. Welcome back. It is Friday, and I am so excited. We made it through the week, and I
Hi,
have here with
Lisa.
you, Joe. Good morning. How was your week?
Oh, it was fast. I couldn't believe after all that wonderful conference that we were at, that Empowerment Live event over the weekend. It just like flew the rest of the week.
It did. How was your week? Do you guys have a good week? Hopefully so. Um, I'm excited just because, Friday's a great day to celebrate and just look back and say, look at all that happened throughout the day or throughout the week. And this is what I learned. This is what I was able to give and just reflect on all of those things that have gone on in our lives. So, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead and say good morning. I don't know. Can I see comments today if they come in? Oh,
On your
look at
phone.
there. I see
You
it.
see them?
I
Oh.
see you already
Oh,
typed
there it
in.
is. Hey, we just need to know where to look.
So we can say good morning to y'all. And if you're hashtag replay, if you're coming on a little bit later, but Joe, you brought up an
I,
interesting
I did.
topic
I
this
did it.
week.
I stepped in it big. Yeah. Hulak. Hulak. So this is a great discussion that we had at the live event on Huluk. What does that mean, and how does that play out? And so, what's Huluk?
Huluk. Hey, good morning, Luke. Huluk.
Yeah, are you ready?
I'm
So,
ready.
okay, so Huluk is meeting a person who comes into your life. You don't know them, and they come in at the right time. They're the right person, the right time, the right place, and from that point, you can see only after you go through it, you can see uh, how they've made a significant change in your life.
Hmm. Okay. So I started teaching piano. Was not planning to do that. So I went to go take piano lessons. Here's a story of how I got started in that. I went to take piano lessons. I called this lady named Barb and scheduled a time to meet with her. I played for her and she looked at me and she says, "You're the one that should be teaching." And I'm going, "Me?" I mean, when you're looking
Yes.
to grow and you're thinking that somebody else can help you, you don't expect them to be kind of tossing you out into the throes of things and saying you're the one that should be teaching. And so I went to another lady. Her name is Diane, and um, she ended up telling me the same thing. But if it weren't for those two ladies, that is, I would never have started teaching music.
And so,
So
what is the result? What did it look like now? What is it, like 30 years? You told me yesterday.
why does he gotta say that?
Oh, okay, it's a long time. It's a long time. Whoops.
No, it's 30 years, and I am excited about that. But I don't hardly feel 30 years old, much less uh,
There
to
we go. 30
say
years
that.
old. Yeah, yeah. You started when you're zero. That's cute. We
So,
started when you're five.
what do you mean? What does it look like?
Well, as a result, how many kids have you? How many students have you?
A lot. A lot. I mean, you figure, depending on what year it was, probably an average of 30. And this year I'm teaching more than 50 students at a time. So I don't know what that math is. Thousands of kids.
Yeah.
That's a lot
I
of.
know you run them in and run into them in the malls, and when we go back to Wisconsin or down here, and it's kind of cool to say, and they are always saying, "Oh, Miss Lisa, it was a fantastic. I enjoyed you as a piano teacher. You're fantastic. You just, I'm still playing."
Yeah,
I still have some of them. Yeah, some
I
of
do
them.
get that, and I guess when you talk about it like that too, you have to realize that it's not 30 to 50 different students every year.
Yeah,
They take for. It could be 6 to 10 years depending on who it
yeah.
is. It might be one, but I had a transfer student this week, and have had him now for a couple months, and he left his lesson yesterday, and just all excited because he's just like, you're the best teacher ever. And it makes you feel good to know that you can make a difference in somebody else's life. And I think that is part of the who luck thing
Yes.
that I really have felt blessed, because I wasn't planning for those people to step into my life and say, hey, you should go teach. But they didn't just say that.
Yeah.
I think that's a big piece of this who luck. So um,
So
let's
you're saying it's like it compounds. So if you get a person that really comes into your life and gives you a trajectory, something that you weren't expecting, what you do with it can compound
it
and
can.
lift others.
But
Okay.
let's tell them where hula came from, because that's a
Okay.
goofy term,
Yeah.
and maybe a little bit more about what hula is.
Okay. So Jim Collins came up with, I don't know if he came up with it, but he's the last one that was kind of recorded as saying "who luck." He's the one that kind of brought it out on the Tim Ferriss show. And so if you don't know Tim Ferriss, go look up the book Tools of Titans. It's
Good
a
book.
Yeah, it's a good book. But Jim Collins, who wrote Good to Great, so this is a book that's now out like 19 years, and it has become a standard. Has become what we consider a master's book because it has such great information, great technique, great ideas. But in any case, he was on the show and he said "Huluk," and he didn't really go on and define it much, but some other people have looked at that and said, okay, this is what it means based on what his conversation was throughout the program. But it's really about this idea of somebody coming in and they might give you vital information that you're lacking. They might introduce you to someone else. So, like
Barb.
Barb introduced you to Diane.
Well, I kind of knew Diane,
Well,
but she introduced me.
yeah,
She gave me references.
yeah.
So she did introduce me to my first 3 clients.
Yeah. So there's, and then that person might also give you feedback that you're missing. So there's other things that might come in, but you have a part. So I go and look at my hulak, and this was right at my worst point in my life. At least I feel it was my worst point. It was the absence of everything, and I had worked myself to the bone, working 60 to 80 hours. I was just feeling drained completely. And this voice comes out over a telephone call and speaks into me as to how I could change, how I could uh, make a difference in the world. And little by little, that voice came back again. And, at first I ignored it. Actually, I looked later and I said, I have his book. 10 years. I put his voice on the shelf for 10 years. And then it came back. And then came back again. And I said, okay, I'll finally listen. It was John Maxwell. It was John Maxwell breathing into me and speaking into my life at that moment that I needed it most. I didn't ask him, but I would have, if I had front row seat with him, but it was over a call. And I, little by little, got into an opportunity to make a difference in country transformation with him at his significant point. And that filled me. That filled me and set me on a different trajectory than if I had just came out, tried to figure out what to do with my life. I mean, it's set up for a great success and getting to meet you.
I came before that, transformation, but
Well, I mean,
anyway,
yeah, I mean,
I did find
to go on with.
I did find an interesting point, though. You said that you had kind of shelved him,
Yeah,
and it kind of came back to you. And I would say the same thing kind of happened to me when I had my who luck,
yeah,
because my mom especially had talked to me about teaching, and I guess I had a different view of it when she had talked to me about it. And all I could think of was like classroom teaching when she was talking to me. And then all of a sudden this happened, and all the idea of teaching and what it would look like suddenly shifted when I met this other person. So our awareness shifts
Hmm.
and our openness shifts. But I think that's a really important point. If we're ready for it, you know, we have a greater awareness of who we are,
Hmm.
then we can be more prepared for this sudden turn of events that can change the trajectory of our life.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a couple things that you can take away that people. Hello, everybody. That can you guys can you're looking for something at this moment, and you don't know who that person's going to be that walk in, but be prepared. So get more prepared as to what you want. Where are you going? What do you need help with? Maybe there's a specific piece that you need help with, So I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about one of our mentors, Paul, and he's, at that point where somebody walked into his life, he was doing business, but it was capped, and he couldn't get beyond that. Well, he found through their conversation, through 3 years of working through Think and Grow Rich, they went through the Think and Grow Rich about 5 to 6 times, the book, reading word by word, and this was a big struggle for him because he's never read a book before that, and he had what he thought was a learning disability. Uh, but he had a struggled past, and by walking through it, he found reconcilement. He found forgiveness of
Mm-hmm.
himself and those that might have inflicted some harm on him. And so the you know it's finding yourself. But he didn't know everything. He didn't know why his business was capped. He didn't know why people weren't working for him and he couldn't find workers to expand. But going through that process of knowing, okay, I got to do something better, and working through that with this person. So uh, for us, we continue to work with people that helped us to take that next part. So we're looking for specific things. So one of the things is working on that ask.
Working on your ask. And it just, my thought process as we were talking
Mm-hmm.
yesterday on my personal page, I asked people what was something that they've done that they think no one else on my list has done. The response to that was phenomenal. Just listening to their different stories and seeing these different things. Sometimes they had control over it, sometimes they didn't. But I think a lot of times the people were ready for that ask, even though they didn't know that who luck was going to be there necessarily. They kind of were prepared. They knew that they had some desire to grow, and even though you can't be completely prepared for a who luck because
Yeah.
they just walk in unexpectedly, um, there's a desire to grow. And I think most of us are operating like at 40% maybe of our potential.
Yeah.
Only maybe 40%.
I'm thinking of Dave Gambrill. So our friend Dave Gambrill, uh, and he's this digital whiz. But before he was, or early in his career, he got onto Good Morning America because they wanted to know his idea for this, what to do with a chip bag. How to I don't know how it all came about. I don't remember the story, but he got on Good Morning America to show them how to fold the chip bag so that you could always have a stand up bag and be able to reach in and get your chips without getting it all rolled up and convoluted.
it,
And as a result, higher awareness by people outside his circle.
it's just interesting how hula can play a role in our life. And I think um, knowing what would you ask, like what is in your heart and your dreams. And I think if I had some hula right now in my life, that person would be able to help me find a speaking engagement, or actually more than find it, I think they would be ready to bring me in as a speaker. It doesn't matter to me where, but I would love to be able to speak throughout the 48 contiguous states here. And so I think about my hula. I don't know when this person is going to cross my path. I don't know if I am going to have to be just out there. But we have to be continually active. We can't just sit back and wait and all of a sudden, poof, like the magic genie appears or something. But we're actively out there. We're putting ourselves out there, working toward those things that we feel called to do. And as we're doing that, we have an awareness of kind of what we want and the questions we might ask, and we might know where we want to grow. But to put my who luck out there and say, man, I would really like to speak in any of these particular states. For example, up the East Coast, that would be an easy place for me right now because I have my long weekends that I can travel with, and I could easily just hop in a car or in a plane and be at that location in a fairly short amount of time. And I could go meet them there and I could provide value to the program, the people that they have. So my who luck has prepared, or my idea of who luck and my idea of where I want to go kind of keeps me in that position of being open and aware so that I'm ready and I'm not going to pull back. And all of a sudden somebody says, what could I do for you? Or what do you need? And then all of a sudden I was like, I know that's happened to people because
Yeah.
we were in a meeting one time. The speaker actually told us that she wanted to meet a famous person. And I knew this famous person. And she asked, does anybody in the room know? And I raised my hand. And she fell flat on her luck big time because all of a sudden, she had her opportunity in front of her. She put the ask out there, but she didn't engage the action it would take
Well, I
to
was
follow
probably
through.
nervous about falling through. Yeah, and that's
So,
yeah. So being
yeah,
able to say, okay, here's what I need, or I have some idea of what I need. Maybe it's not exactly what I need, but then this is where I'm going,
exactly.
and then saying, oh, okay, let's go talk.
So, hey, good morning, Mandy. Welcome. We've
Woo!
been talking about who luck this morning and just these people that come into your life unexpectedly and can provide you with some value with your life, taking you places that you never expected that you might be able to go, or maybe you really wanted to go and they can help you to get there. So I think today we're looking for stories.
Yes, absolutely. Who's your who luck?
Well,
Write it in. Who was a who? Who came into your life? You don't have to use a name if you don't want to, but who who came into your life and who changed it? Who put something in that you weren't expecting to help improve your direction, your journey, your career, your family life? Maybe maybe gave you an outlet to go play in a band. Seriously,
you
I mean,
never know.
we know some people up in Wisconsin, northeast Wisconsin, that they got just happened to be in the room and boom, they're on the stage a short
Yeah,
while after.
yeah. When Rebecca and I were out touring, we met some famous people that were um, musicians and
Yeah,
could have taken a cruise with them. So that was kind of cool too. So who has been your who luck, or maybe
who you're looking for.
who you're looking for?
Yeah,
Yeah. So we put those dreams and aspirations out there, and you never know. Your who luck could be lurking right around the corner here, and somebody here might know who you're looking for. So
nice. Yeah. All right. This is
thank,
great.
thanks for this idea,
Thanks.
Joe.
No, thanks. Thanks for being here in our spacious living room. And we, enjoy. This is Friday, the Friday show, for lack of a better name. Maybe you want to jump in and put in a comment and give a name to the show. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys, and thank you, Joe. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will be back with you on Monday morning, 7:45 a.m., with some more mindset tips and ideas, thoughts to get you going and help you live into the success that you really desire to have. So, have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.
All right. Bye.